was calling out your name with my eyes on the wall. You were running like a ghost from me. You were running from it all. You were always taking time, baby.
What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. Now I am super excited because I finally got my hands on a 4-pack of Versas. Now I was at Ecotech a few months ago and I got the privilege of having a behind the scenes tour, which was really awesome. And I saw how these pumps are being made, and they're basically all built in-house, and amazing the quality control that actually goes into these. So super duper stoked to finally have some of these. Now, inside the box, of course, have our power cable. We have our valve stem adapters if you want to use soft tubing, some mounting screws, and the Versas themselves. Top of the inside of the box there, we also have that Mobius app, kind of a little promo. So what these pumps are going to use what's called Mobius, and that's Ecotech's new control platform. If you guys don't know about it, I did do a live stream on it a few weeks back, so I'll link to that one in this video. Now, the cool thing about these, aside from being extremely versatile, they can do as little as 0.5 mil per minute up to a couple 100 mils per minute. So you can use it for dosing your trace elements. You can use it for doing like a big water change, moving a huge volume of water. So very, very versatile, hence the name, the Versa. Now taking a look at this, you can either buy these pumps individually. So each head could be individual with a power supply, or you can buy the 4-pack, which comes with this base unit. So if you see on the bottom, we've got this little clip, and you can squeeze that and pop off the pump heads. So they come off very easily. Now the cool thing with this base unit, one has a level in it, which is pretty awesome, really handy for mounting it nice and straight. You have one power supply. So instead of having 4 plugs, you use 1 plug, which is nice. So it just gives you a nice even way to kind of flush mount it all, one power supply. It just gives it a very nice clean look. You want to pop your head onto it, that's it. So really easy to pop it on, pop it off. Now for actually maintenance, if for whatever reason you wanted to change your tubing out, if maybe it's a maintenance thing at some point in time, you can slide this head down and that pops off, and that will open up inside of the tubes, and you can see we got our tube and our little assembly is kind of all one unit inside. Now, I've actually already been playing with these for the last couple days, just getting a good feel for them. So they are already programmed, but let's just plug it in. And once it boots up, you should see the head start moving. So right now I have every head running at 30 milliliters per minute. And this is roughly what I used the Camor pump previously to run my calcium reactor. So let's launch the Mobius app and check out what we can do with these. So once the app loads, we have a new icon on the bottom, and this is for the Versa pumps. So if we click on the Versa pump, you can see right now I have them all set to 30 mils constant. Now, if we click on one of the pumps, a couple different things we can do. For the additives, there's a bunch of preloaded ones. And right now, so we've got magnesium, elk. If you pick one of them, it can kind of change the color of it. So just for kind of pre-done labels, so say we want this one to be blue. Now, if you see which one it is, okay, so the one that's flashing the blue color, this is the one we just picked. Now, it's kind of cool because you can use it to assign a pump, and now it goes to red. So you can match the pump with the app. So when you're looking at it, you'll know exactly which pump you're working on. At a glance, you know which one's which. So it's a cool way to do it. For the dosing schedule, right now we can either do constant or manual. So constant is something that you'd use for feeding in a calcium reactor. Let's say 10 mils a minute, save, done. Now you should see the first head slow down. And so super duper easy to adjust it, which I love, because it's gonna make tuning a calcium reactor so easy. Now other uses would be something like a calc stirrer, or if you want to do a continuous automatic water change, or you could even run really slowly as an auto top off if you knew roughly what your evaporation was per day. So lots of cool stuff you can do with that. Now the other thing that a lot of people are going to do is just going to be kind of the standard dosing. So if I can say for the dosing schedule, we'll go to manual, and I'll say, what time is it? So 9:30. So let's add a plus, and we'll tell it to dose right around here. So we'll start at 9:40. And 40 p.m. dose 5 bills. And you're gonna finish by 9:45, so 5 mils within a minute. Or 9:41. Done, save. Okay, we beat the clock. All right, so it's 9:30. So now this one should do its dosing in less than a minute. Now it's gonna do those 5 mils over a minute. So it's actually gonna be a really slow dose, but that kind of has a nice advantage of it making it ultra quiet. Now even running fully, like there's a very minimal hum to it right now, and that's mainly just from the cardboard box. Lifting it up and you can barely hear it. So at 30 mils, it's definitely pretty quiet, which is awesome. All right, so it's 9:40 and you can see it very slowly turning. So really easy to program for your dosing. Now the nice thing is too, you could have all your dosing happen very slowly throughout the day, and at such little amounts, it's not even an issue about precipitation, or you can schedule it to dose at different intervals. So come in here, back to our dosing, we can add as many points as we want. And it's pulling our last settings of 5 mils, so just plus, add, drag it down. Now we have dose 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. At the bottom, initial dose over 10 seconds. So if we either want to prime the lines or check calibration, you can say that and say go, and you'll see the pump just fires up and goes really quick. So that could be something that you could use for water change, you could use it for priming your lines, checking your calibration, that type of stuff. At the bottom, also the container volume. So if you wanted, you could say, okay, this is 50 mils, and it could use it to kind of track your consumption. If we could also manually turn the pump forward or backwards by pressing and holding these little arrows. Max daily dosage. So if you say only want to dose a maximum of 100 mils, then you know that pump's not going to dose over it. So you use kind of a safety feature so you wouldn't overdose it. And for a dose rate, so you could set, so if you wanted to force it to go at a certain speed, you could say, okay, only dose 1 mil per minute. Now this is going to be super duper slow. Obviously we got our calibration. We did come with the calibration cup, that's actually sitting on my desk still. If you look at the top of the doser, we also have these line of buttons, and what those do is they're for kind of a manual dosing or priming lines or pushing water through, whatever you want. So I hold this down, you can manually make the head spin. Now this is the first time I've ever seen this feature on a pump, and it's really cool. So what we're doing right now is homing the Versa. So as I'm setting the home point, you can see the pump head slowly moving as I push the button. And what we're gonna do is line up that little dot with that circle. And when the pump is done dosing, it's always gonna go back to its home position. Now why this is a really cool feature is because when the heads are resting, they're always in the exact same spot on the tube. This is gonna reduce wear and tear on the tube and prolong the longevity of it. So really cool feature. Now for the actual kind of dosing, if you want to use for auto water change, the stats say it's good for about 6 meters or plus of head height, so that's about 18 feet. So you got a pretty good range of height on it. Aside from that, it's the whole versatility of it. I mean, dosing trace elements, dosing, a couple hundred mils a minute is like massive volume. So you can do a lot with it. And that's one of the biggest selling features. It's kind of like the one pump drill maul. Doesn't matter what you throw at it, it can likely handle it. So super duper cool. Now one other kind of important feature is how you actually connect your tubing. So you got 2 different options. And the first one would be these stem adapters. So if you take a look at those, it is a push fitting and it goes to a stem barb adapter. So that just pokes in and connects, and that's what you'd be using if you're using something like your soft tubing. So this is what a lot of people use, kind of like your airline tubing. Slide that on, connected. Now to get it out, you push that down with your fingernail and you can slide out the barb. Very similar to how an RODI fixture works. The other option, which I prefer to use because I've done this for years on all my pumps, is to use RODI fitting. Because these tubes are hard to kink or anything else, that's why I like these. Plus you could get them nice and straight, they look good. And with those, you just push it in, you're done, same thing. If you get a little tug, it's in there nice and tight. You can actually see, because they're clear, see the O-ring inside and kind of see where it locks it in place. Now one important thing is when you're doing this is to make sure is to cut it properly. I've seen some people cut it with scissors, and when you do that, it kind of bends the tube and kind of malforms it a bit and you get a bit of a kink. So if you want to cut it, best option is pick up one of these little tube cutters. You just pop it in, cuts it for you, get a nice perfect clean flush cut, or use something like a razor blade and try and get a nice perfect 90-degree cut. But the tube cutters are for a couple bucks. They make your life easy, you get perfect cuts every time. So I do have some big plans for these and some really cool stuff you can do with this. Now, because Mobius is an app, you can start integrating with other equipment and you could make stuff happen as part of scenes. So one of my thoughts is to make it actually do a water change during feed mode. That way my tank's in feed mode, the water in the sump could suck it out and then add some new water to it. And it could all happen while it's in feed mode, your pumps kick on, you got some fresh water in the tank. So there's all kinds of really cool stuff like that I'm thinking about working in. And it's really gonna kind of unlock the power of it as they start adding more and more of the Ecotech products to the app. And that's gonna be rolled out over the next few months. So super stoked for that. So there's definitely gonna be a lot of stuff coming on this one, which I'm really excited for. And I'm gonna do a bunch more videos as I play with it more. I'll do a bunch of little kind of mini how-tos as we go. But kind of a first unlock unboxing of the Ecotech Versa, which I'm super stoked for, and I hope you guys are too. So if you enjoyed this, hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.